Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Kelvin and I like to talk about startups and tech in general. For today, I would be talking about something outside of, just a bit outside of what I do on a day-to-day basis, which is SEO. I like to believe in specialization. So I'm a front-end developer. I focus mainly on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, basically making sure the website is presented to the user the way that it's intended to. I also like to learn about a lot of things generally, not just with tech, but outside tech. So in recent months, I've been learning about SEO. What is SEO? Search engine optimization is a way to optimize your website for search engines. This means that you structure your website and its pages in a way that when search engines are crawling and indexing your website, it's easy for them to understand the content of your website. Now, why is this important? When someone goes to a search engine like Google, for example, and they search for something, the search engine takes their search, breaks it into parts to understand exactly what the person is trying to search for, and then it goes to its database of pages that it has already indexed and tries to find which one is relevant to the user's search. So if you're structured your website and your web pages well, it's easier for you to understand what your website is about and then show it in the search results. So now that you know what SEO is, next thing is how do you use it or why should you use it? For me, I started learning about SEO because I was working on a project called startupgraveyard.africa. It's a website that documents failed startups in Africa and analyzes why these startups failed so that future entrepreneurs and founders can learn from their failures and not make the same mistakes. Initially, when I built this website, it was a single page with a list of these startups. Once I put out the website and I made a post about it on Twitter, it gained some traction and I realized that there was some interest in having a resource like this. So I decided to develop it further. One of the issues I noticed from the early days is that the website wasn't getting indexed on Google search. Later on, you had to go a couple of pages before you would see it in search results. I then decided to pay more attention to SEO since I was already taking a course on digital marketing. So with SEO, as with every other thing you want to do, you need to have a goal and then you need to make a plan to achieving your goal. The goal for Startup Graveyard was to increase its ranking in search results. Once I set that goal, I needed to make a plan, which is one of the key things with SEO. You need to have an SEO plan. So I did some keyword research about startup graveyards and potential topics that I would want to cover. After doing the research, I realized that I needed to make a blog. A blog allows you to write content that can be crawled and indexed by search engines. So I decided to make a blog and expand Startup Graveyard into more than a single page it was initially. Once I decided to add a blog, I needed to now think about where do I host the blog content, the tools that I would use to build the blog. Because the original version of Startup Graveyard was built with Vue, and I knew that it wouldn't be much of a good fit. So I'd already started thinking about migrating to Nuxt, which is a Vue framework. I will make a separate video where I talk about the technical aspects of choosing Nuxt over Vue and some of the ways I went about implementing SEO for the blog and then the site in general. So if you're interested in that, subscribe if you're not subscribed and turn on your notifications so you'll be the first to know when that drops. So I went back, took some time out and built the blog. reached out and got a couple of writers and started putting out content. Throughout this process, there are some key things I've learned. The first one is when you want to improve your SEO results, put out content in some way. A lot of the time, a blog is the best way to create content related to your business, related to the service you're providing. That's to tell search engines that this website is a good resource for this type of information. Another thing I learned is optimizing for mobile. Your website should work just as well on mobile devices as it does on desktop. So if you're using a technology that doesn't work well on mobile, like Flash back in the day, for example, automatically you wouldn't get ranked high enough on the search results page if someone is searching from a mobile device. I also learned about structuring content. Previously, I thought content was just text, images, videos, and putting it out together. I'm a writer, so I know how to structure content, but there's a way to structure it when you are thinking about search engines. One of the important things is to use headings accordingly. So heading 1 at the top, and then heading 2s, heading 3s. When you have a heading 2 and you have subheadings under that heading, use heading 3s instead of just using random paragraphs here and there. Also, using alt attributes for your images. The alt attributes tells the browser a bit more about this picture, but it also tells search engines what is inside this image, and if someone is searching for something related to that, it also helps you to rank higher. It's been a couple of months since I added the blog to the website, and from our analytics reports, before I added the blog, we're getting a handful of traffic from search engines, and it has steadily been on the rise from 10 to 20 in 28 days, and then now we are in a couple of hundreds in 28 days, and it is everly increasing. So without much effort on social media, because we also post our content on social media, we already get considerable amount of traffic from search engines alone. Another thing that you should try to do with SEO is to have some backlinks, meaning other websites linking to your own websites. As I mentioned before, we post on social media that links to our website, but also having people from other sites link back to your website. It's recommended that you can reach out to blogs that are doing something related to your service to publish content on their own sites that links back to your site, and then you can do the same for them. And finally, stay up to date with SEO trends, because just with everything in tech, things are constantly changing and evolving. For example, now we have AI, ChatGPT and Gemini, and all this helpful AI technology. Now, how do this affect SEO? Because if you ask Gemini a question, it would answer you directly. Same with ChatGPT. So is SEO still that important? So here's my take on it. We are still in the early days of these technologies, and they are going to constantly evolve, and the regulation around them will evolve. But at some point, there has to be attribution to the sources that this AI is getting their information from. So in those cases, then your SEO work still holds, because if the AI is getting that information from your website, then it will link to your website. So here I asked Gemini why this particular startup shut down. Here's the answer, but you see at the bottom here it adds the source. I believe SEO will still be relevant for the short term, but also in the long term once we have the regulations to guide this AI technology. That's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. If you're also interested in the video I mentioned about earlier, where I dive into the technical aspects of migrating from Vue to Nuxt, optimizing the website for SEO, also subscribe and turn on push notifications. That will be my next video. Until next time, take care and may the code be with you. Peace.